New App Store rules, fun facts about Vision Pro, and the ultimate guide for design and architecture. I'm Serhiy Butenko, an engineer at Clean My Mac, and here we go with the news. It's been a while since the launch of Vision Pro. The Apple Store in New York looked gorgeous on the release day. After the release, there were plenty of memes. And of course, The Simpsons predicted Vision Pro. I guess most of you have already seen the reviews, so I won't cover that. Instead, I will share some interesting facts. First, in the previous episode I mentioned that YouTube had no plans of making a native app for visionOS. But we don't need it anymore. Here is Juno app that does almost the same as YouTube. Second, iFixit disassembled the device and even rated its repairability at 4 out of 10. This is a so good score considering the form factor. There are also many videos testing the Vision Pro for durability, scratching, hitting and even burning it. You can find links to that fun videos in the description. And third, there is the developer strap, which you can buy for $300. The strap allows you to debug Vision Pro from Xcode. That's almost the same price of an Android smartphone just for a cable. So what do you think about Vision Pro after release and reviews? Have you bought one? The biggest change in iOS 17.4 is, of course, the new emojis. Another major update is Sideloading, the installation of applications outside of the App Store. Apple has finally published rules for that stores and a business model for them. Epic Games said they will be making their own App Store. But guess what? Setapp is already creating a store. It is way more interesting than just having Fortnite app on iPhone. Setapp Store will offer tons of useful apps. The release is coming soon, so you can get early access with a link in the description. Also, Apple allowed third-party browsers to use their rendering engines on iOS. Currently, Firefox and Chrome are wrappers for WebKit with a bit of functionality like tab synchronization or content blocking. Now they can have full versions like on the desktop. Tuist has released a few updates. For those who don't know, Tuist is a tool that allows you to generate Xcode project files based on a configuration, so you won't have merge conflicts. The first release is Tuist Cloud. It can cache dependencies and frameworks, only rebuilding them if they were changed. This can speed up build time on CI up to 19%. They applied the same approach to tests as well. They won't run tests unless the related code was changed. Tuist Cloud can be self-hosted, so don't worry about security aspects. The service is free for personal use, but teams need to contact support for a quote. Also, Tuist 4 was released. The release changed the API for project descriptions and switched it to Doc.C documentations. There are not so many new features, but there are breaking changes, so they've introduced a new major version. Chris Eidhoff has created SwiftUI Field Guide, a website where you can see how SwiftUI renders elements and applies modifiers. The website covers such topics as alignments, stacks, aspect ratio, and paddings. Each topic has code examples, UI for this code, and some explanations. For example, observe how the background behind the text changes with different paddings value. Basically, this website does almost the same as SwiftUI Preview, but within a browser. The project still is in beta, so let's wait for more updates. Imagine you're developing a command-line application. How would this change the app's architecture? While implementing the UI, it becomes very tempting to place some logic close to the UI layer. Some action happens in the UI and we want to handle in that place. Frankly speaking, UI view controller doesn't help us to build a layered architecture at all, and we end up with a classic messy view controller. The article shows how we can improve the app's architecture by making its features potentially accessible from a command line. When we develop an app without UI, we build the core that does all the business logic. If you add some triggers like UI or command line, we just call the methods so we have well-defined layers of the app. If we build this using Tuist, as I mentioned before, we can also speed up the build time and improve code quality. This is the last episode with me, so I want to thank you all for being with us. Please give a warm welcome to the new hosts. Subscribe to the channel so you won't miss them. Bye bye!